From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
A bear attack leaves a 3-year-old in the hospital. We have the latest details from a campground in Red Lodge, and we take a look at what is truth in politics. We've got a fact check of that 90-minute speech made by candidate Trump this weekend in Bozeman. And we'll take a look at the ticket cost at the Montana Fair here in Billings and how it stacks up to other fairs across the state. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Tuesday, August. It's the 13th. I'm Augusta McDonnell. We're here with Miller Robson. How are you?
I'm doing good.
All righty, and we've got lots of folks headed outside this week for Montana Fair, but some showers.
Yeah, there's a chance in our area here in Billings, maybe around drive time, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, give or take an hour. That's when we have the chance of seeing some of that wicked weather coming through with gusts up to 60 miles an hour. The main concern, and we can have pockets of some heavy rainfall. We're going to break that down, exactly what we're thinking, timetable, and what the main threats are coming up here in just a bit with a main look at that forecast. A little cooler than average yesterday. Our high getting up to about 85 with the cloud cover. Did have some storms roll through yesterday here in Billings, only a few drops, but the main thing was, whoa, it got windy at times yesterday, and that will be the main threat today with any of those storms that do pop up. Still pacing ahead for the month in terms of the moisture total, still in the hole over an inch for the year. And some of these storms actually could produce a good bit of rain. We could see some bursts of rain out there, maybe up to 1/4 of an inch in some spots if you're lucky. And we're going to hold on to a chance of rain tomorrow as well, so maybe a good soaking for some. 58 right now at the airport, humidity at 87%, winds out the southwest at about 8 miles an hour. Still some of that lingering rain over to our east. That will clear up this morning, and then we'll see things fire back up later today. 40s, 50s, and 60s right now. Those highs today anywhere from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And there's your big weather story. A marginal risk for all of us today for severe storms. I'll break it down for you with the main forecast just around the corner.
All right, Miller, thank you so much for tracking all of that. Okay. And our top story this Tuesday morning, an unexpected night for campers at a Red Lodge RV park. And an out-of-state family now focused on the health and healing of their toddler girl. Perry's RV park and campground was abruptly evacuated in the middle of the night on Sunday after a black bear attacked that child while she was fast asleep inside her tent. Our Alina Howder has this.
That bear attack happened just miles away from here at Basin Campground, and it has campers here on high alert. There's nothing quite like the peacefulness of the Montana wilderness.
It's just beautiful country.
But on Sunday night, this private campground just south of Red Lodge was anything but peaceful, as a 3-year-old girl was attacked by a black bear while sleeping inside her family's tent.
I can't imagine what that is, how terrifying that'd be as a parent.
Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is releasing very few details about the girl or her condition, but says it happened at about 9:45.
She's being treated in the hospital in Billings. She went to the hospital in Red Lodge first and then sent over to Billings afterwards.
Perry's RV park and campground is now empty as wildlife officials try and trap the black bear.
They're evacuating everyone out of the area. They need that area to be secure in order to really amp up their capturing efforts.
While it's still unknown why the bear attacked the tent, Webb says the bear was likely lured to the campsite because of attractants.
There are campfires, if the food's out and about and everything like that, it's a tendency to draw some wild animals in.
It's something Billings couple Lisa and Don Wilcox know all too well.
Tents are very vulnerable. We used to sleep in a tent all the time, and we kind of graduated from that to this trailer here.
Which is why it's so important to be bear aware.
We've got about 2 or 3 cans of bear spray that we bring with us, and we like to hike around this area, so we carry that with us when we hike.
A lesson Eric Baness from North Dakota learned this Monday.
Actually, we're running into town tonight and we're hiking tomorrow, so I'm probably going to pick up some better defense strategies.
In Red Lodge, Alina Howder, MTN News.
Kamala, sometimes referred to as Kamala. You know, she's got about 9 different ways of pronouncing the name. And because the press is so dishonest, no matter how you say it, they'll say you were wrong. You were wrong. I don't care if I get it right. Actually, I couldn't care less.
That is former President Donald Trump speaking to his supporters in Bozeman on Friday. That speech, which lasted more than 90 minutes, contained many bold statements and questionable claims. And that's where we turn our attention to this morning. The Montana Television Network and Scripps News partnered with a group called PolitiFact. It's a group that fact checks, and we have a fact check now with the former president's speech. Our MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian takes a closer look at some of the claims made by former President Trump on Friday.
PolitiFact editor-in-chief Katie Sanders says as the presidential campaign has heated up, they've been taking a closer look at claims from both the Republican and Democratic tickets. She says many of the statements that former President Trump made during his Friday night rally in Bozeman are ones they've heard multiple times before.
But because it was our first time fact-checking Trump's appearance in that state and partnering with Montana news outlets, we wanted to highlight some of those repeats for anybody who was hearing it for the first time.
On Saturday, PolitiFact followed up on 5 of Trump's statements from his Bozeman rally. 3 of them dealt with one of his main topics, immigration.
Illegal aliens are stampeding into America by the millions and millions. They're coming from prisons, they're coming from jails.
PolitiFact says federal data isn't complete, but it identifies just over 100,000 non-citizens with criminal convictions arrested by Customs and Border Protection since 2021, and not all of them were let in.
Sure, some migrants who do manage to cross the border do have criminal backgrounds, but that is not the millions and millions.
Trump also touted his economic record as president.
I handed Kamala and Crooked Joe a surging economy with no inflation. We had no inflation. We had nothing.
Inflation was lower during Trump's presidency than Biden's, but it never hit 0. And the lowest point was at the height of the COVID pandemic.
We know from covering economic claims over the years from both sides, there's a lot of cherry picking involved.
Randon Gregg, a business owner and legislative candidate from White Sulphur Springs, attended the rally. He said he didn't think fact-checking was unreasonable, but that people should take it with a grain of salt. He said in many cases, Trump is using rhetoric in service of a valid point.
Yeah, you kind of have to zoom out and be like, hey, these overall, this is kind of the macro situation. These are the policies we're going to be pushing. These are the policies we're against, but at a macro level.
During the rally, Trump also alluded to fact-checkers.
Kamala, sometimes referred to as Kamala. You know, she got about 9 different ways of pronouncing the name. And because the press is so dishonest, no matter how you say it, they'll say you were wrong. You were wrong. I don't care if I get it right. Actually, I couldn't care less.
You can find all of PolitiFact's recent fact checks on both parties on their website, PolitiFact.com. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Jonathan, thank you for that report. Lies in politics have become the norm, especially during a campaign season. It happens on both sides of the aisle. This morning, we're going to attempt to get at the truth behind lying in politics. Why does it happen? Is there strategy behind it? With more on that, here's our Charlie Kleps.
It's no secret that politicians tend to bend the truth, and it happens with candidates on both sides of the aisle. But the question is now, how did we get here, and does it matter?
Nice girl.
It's almost like we've been divided into 2 teams. There's the blue team and the red team.
In a time where America is more divided than ever,
I would say that I align myself with the policies that President Trump put forth.
I probably align more with the Democratic Party.
it might not come as a surprise that voters often listen for what they want to hear.
I gotta like Tim Sheehy a lot to be here. I have to.
Right now, it's all a popularity contest.
But when did that popularity contest begin?
We've really evolved to want to be part of a tribe, because when you're part of a tribe or a group, you're safer.
Dr. Eric Arzubi with Frontier Psychiatry says this behavior is rooted in human nature, with people searching for their sense of belonging.
Nobody wants to be excluded, right? Everybody wants to belong to a team.
And that's why he believes politicians get away with lying as often as they do.
I think all of us are vulnerable to what's called confirmation bias. In other words, we see the world a certain way, we hear information that kind of validates or confirms it. We're like, oh, okay, good, we're good.
Arzubi says voters from both parties are so rooted in their beliefs that they're inclined to ignore or excuse any false facts.
It happens absolutely on both sides, right? Because again, they'd rather be hearing, hey, that was an awesome speech, Trump did a great job, or amazing speech by Kamala Harris.
A frustrating reality for voters around the state.
This divisiveness that we're seeing right now in society is scary to me.
It's so frustrating As an American voter, I believe no matter what side you're on,
Anxiousness and uncertainty, the only real guarantee every 4 years.
it's really hard as an American, if you're paying attention, to know what's true and what's not.
We don't need these people bashing each other. We need what's best for the American economy and what's best for the American people.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Charlie, thank you for that. This weekend was a very busy one for the city of Bozeman, not just with the Trump campaign rally, but other counter events across the city. This meant a large police presence was required to ensure that all of these events were safe. Bozeman Police Deputy Chief Andy Knight says the department spread their resources all throughout town. As you can guess, that definitely cost some money.
In those events, it costs some money. We have an overtime budget. I mean, overtime budget itself is necessary for these unplanned events or unplanned times, and so that budget exists.
Both the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office and Bozeman Police say they'll take a couple of weeks to figure out the true cost of this past weekend. This is the same budgetary question for all of the rallies Trump held in Montana in 2018. It's been reported that there's still a tab of $49,000 owed to the city of Billings for one of Trump's visits. Upwards of $13,000 is still owed to Billings from one of those rallies, but according to city spokesperson Victoria Hill, there's no outstanding debt from that event. Excuse me, $13,000 was the tab specifically for a Trump rally. $49,000 is the outstanding total. New changes could soon be coming to Billings' oldest pool. The Billings City Council heard about 3 concepts last night at their city council meeting. There's an estimated cost of those concepts from $8 million to nearly $16 million. Q2's David J. talked with the parks director about the possible replacement of that facility that study shows is past its useful life. Here's this.
The Parks Department presented 3 different plans for a new pool here at South Park. One of them could be just a little bit south of where the pool is now, and there's no real timeline for when this will happen. The City Council still needs to decide if it wants to approve one of these plans and then how to pay for it. Kids have been enjoying the South Park pool for 110 years, and according to the city, the pool and bathhouse need replacing.
I think that it would be nice for them to redo it the way they wanted to, you know. A lot of kids go there.
We haven't been over there. The last time I was over there was maybe a few years ago, and it was pretty run down. It just felt a little unsafe.
The 3 options for a new South Park pool would cost $8 million for option 1, $11.5 million for option 2, and $15.6 million for option 3.
Basically, it's the same sort of pool building, just the more amenities you would add on. Is it going to have a slide? Is it going to have a lazy river? You know, what additional amenities would be added? And that's how you get the increase in pricing.
Mike Pigg, Parks and Recreation Director, says the pool and building might be put in a different layout.
Some of the concept would be, let's move it back off of the street and put the building out front, kind of like Rose's pool, and then put the pool in behind that. And then the pool would probably change and become like a 0 entry pool.
And that same report shows the Pioneer Park and Hawthorne Park wading pools, along with the Terry Park spray ground, are put at high priority for replacement.
35, almost 40 years old, you know, and so things wear out, and those are worn out.
And even with the condition of the South Park pool, it's still something the neighborhood kids enjoy.
My kids really enjoy the pool, and it's a good pastime for them.
It's been really nice, but I really think that needs improvement.
It keeps them safe, keeps them doing something positive and healthy.
And at this time, there's no estimated time when any of these projects will get started.
Even design's going to take 6 months, but we got to find the money, and that's the biggest hurdle we got to jump.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.